Hello, third graders. It's Mrs. Sardina, and I'm excited about the lesson we have planned for you today. Today, we're going to be doing a little mini research project on an athlete, so a sports superstar of some sort, and you'll have a bit of freedom to choose an athlete that you're interested in learning more about. And when we're thinking about how could we present this research that you do in kind of a fun and engaging way, I thought about sports trading cards. So if you're not familiar with sports trading cards, most famous are usually baseball cards, where people collect and trade and sell baseball cards. And Mr. Sardina happens to be a collector of these kinds of cards. So I have a few that I can show you. So as I said, the most famous are baseball cards. So here's one he has of Ken Griffey Jr., who's a famous baseball player. This is an old card. On the front of the trading card, there's always a picture of the athlete, sometimes in action, sometimes just standing there, but it's Ken Griffey Jr. in action. And on the back of the trading card, it is full of information. So at the top here, it's probably hard for you to read, but at the top it has information about Ken Griffey Jr., such as his height and his weight and how he bats left, he throws left, when he was drafted, the different teams he's played for, his hometown, information like that. In this middle section, it has a bunch of stats about him. His at-bats, his runs, his hits, his strikeouts, all kinds of stats like that. Then it has just some other interesting information on the back about him. So that's a baseball trading card. Here's an old basketball trading card of Larry Bird. So when he played for the Boston Celtics, there's a picture of him on the front. Again, on the back in this section are a whole bunch of little stats about his height and his hometown and where he went to college and when he was drafted and the different teams he played for. And then there's a list in order of all of the years that he played basketball and important stats and records and things that he, number of shots he made and his free throw percentage, all going in order. So he started playing in 1979 in Boston, and it goes from 79, 80, 81, 82, all the way until he was playing in 1989 and 1990 was his last season. So it goes in order, kind of reminded me of a timeline that we talked about when we did biography. So it's a little bit of a timeline of all of his basketball accomplishments. And the last card I'll show you is Reggie White. Is this Reggie White? No, Sterling Sharp, I'm sorry. This is Sterling Sharp. We had another card downstairs that was Reggie White. This is Sterling Sharp. He was a Green Bay Packer player. So on the front, we got an action shot of Sterling Sharp. And on the back, there's a picture of him. And then here are some of those basic information that someone might want to know about him: where he was born, his birth date, his height, his weight, his college, when he joined the NFL, and what team he played for. And then over here is a paragraph just kind of telling all about some of his accomplishments in his first, this was a newer card, so just his first couple years of playing. So you are going to get to research an athlete and then put together a trading card on a Google slide, a trading card of important information you've learned about your athlete. And I'm going to screen share with you a couple of things first. First off, a good starting point would be, This is a good starting point. So you go to the Riverside homepage. On the homepage, you can slide down and go to our library resources and slide on down again to Pebble Go Next. I click on Pebble Go Next. We want to look at biographies. There's a picture of Abe Lincoln there. That's the biography section. And then they are sorted by different topics. And we're going to start on athletes. There aren't a ton of athletes here, but these athletes that are on Pebble Go Next, it has some really basic information that will be easy for you to access and easy for you to put into your trading card. My example is I'm going to use Lindsey Vonn. She is a famous skier, downhill skier. I'm going to click on Lindsey Vonn, and here I get some stuff about her early life, stuff about her races, her successes. All of this information would be really helpful in creating my trading card. Another place you might search is on Epic if you have an Epic account. If I type in the search bar, if I type in Lindsay, oh, she pops up right away. If I type in Lindsay Vaughn's name, I can see that Epic has one, and actually I know they have a couple other books about her too. Let's see if they're popping up. 3 books about Lindsay Vaughn that I could read and gather even more information. Because what we want you to do is not just take one source, but when you're researching, it's important that you use more than one source. So we're suggesting at least 2, and that you do that cross-text synthesis where you take what you learn from Pebble Go Next and what you learn from a book on Epic or a book on Storia or another place, and you put that information together to get your project. So that's cross-text synthesis. So I could choose one of these books. And then as you're reading, you might want to keep a pen and a piece of paper handy where you're jotting down important dates, important stats, birthdays, hometown, school, where they went to school, teams they've played for, successes and accomplishments, what they did on this date, and when they were 10 and when they were 30, and all of those important things. Then you're going to put all that information together into your trading card. So let me show you what my trading card looks like. So after I collected all my information on Lindsay Vaughn, I built a little trading card. Yours does not have to look just like this, but it needs to have some of this type of information. So just like those trading cards I showed you at the beginning of this video, I have a picture of Lindsay Vaughn that I found here, and I put a border on it because I noticed that most of those had a border. It kind of made them colorful and neat looking. Most important is I have my athlete's name big and bold here at the top of my trading card. Then I added a text box here. And in that text box, I put some of the most important basic info that someone would want to know about Lindsay Vaughn. Her birth date, her age, her hometown, and where she went to school. So Lindsay Vaughn's birth date is October 18th, 1984. Her age is 35. Her hometown is St. Paul, Minnesota. And her school, Lindsay Vaughn was homeschooled. In doing my research, she got to be a really good skier when she was about 7 years old. So she moved to a place where she could do lots of training because they thought this girl is going to really need to focus on skiing. She's going to be really good. So she had tutors and her parents and other people helping her with her schooling so she could focus on her training from a really young age. So here's my basic info. Then I added another text box, and this is where you want to think about a timeline. Having a list of accomplishments in order. I used bullet points for mine. We've used bullet points before in other nonfiction research and nonfiction writing that we've done. So I started with this first major accomplishment she had when she was 7 years old. She won her first alpine race. These do not have to be complete sentences. They can be phrases or just a couple of little words, but we do want them to be in order, kind of like a timeline. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 facts and things that I put into my timeline, starting with this one from when she was 7, and then I ended here with when she retired from skiing. So here's my timeline of important events, and I chose, as I said, I chose 7. You don't have to, you can do a few less than that. I would hope you'd have at least 5 or so, but you also might do more than that. It depends. So I have that she won her first alpine race when she was 7 years old. She moved to Vail, Colorado to pursue skiing when she was 11. She competed in her first Olympics in 2002. She won the World Cup in 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2012. She won gold in downhill in 2010 Olympics. She was the Female Athlete of the Year in 2010. And then she retired on February 10th. Of 2019. And at the bottom, and this can be very small so that it doesn't take up much space, but down at the very bottom, it's important that you note where you got your information. So I got my information, you can see I noted 2 sources there. One, I got it from a book on Epic called Lindsay Vaughn Superstar by Karen Dan. So you can see that one down here. And then the other source that I used to get information about Lindsay Vaughn was Pebble Go Next from the section called Lindsey Vaughn. So if you get something from Pebble Go Next, it won't necessarily say an author. So it's okay if you just write Pebble Go Next and the name of the athlete that you researched. So this is what we want your trading card to look something like. It doesn't have to be exactly like this, but we're looking for a photo of your athlete that you researched, the athlete's name big and bold somewhere near the top, a text box with some basic info that someone would want to know about the athlete, and then a text box that lists in order some accomplishments of your athlete. And then don't forget at the very bottom, and it can be small so it doesn't take up much room, to list the sources you found this information on. And you'll have at least 2. If you want to do 3, go for it and use 3 sources to really get information or to cross-check information that you got, and make sure you're capturing the best, most important things to put onto your trading card. So remember, on your Google slideshow that you're doing with all of your reading responses, this will be a new slide that you do with a trading card of a famous athlete. So find a couple of sources, cross-text synthesis, put that information together, and make a really cool trading card on your Google Doc. We can't wait to see what you come up with. I'm excited to learn about some new athletes.